The sound of shattering glass pierced the air, jolting me from my thoughts. I stared at the remnants of my favorite vase scattered across the hardwood floor, a casualty of my trembling hands. Funny how a simple text message could upend my entire world. "Mom? What was that noise?" Ava's concerned voice called from upstairs. I cleared my throat, willing my voice to remain steady. "Nothing, sweetie, just knocked something over. Go back to sleep." As I knelt to clean up the mess, my phone screen lit up again. Adam's message glared at me. "Working late. Don't wait up." Working late. Right, the same excuse he'd been using for months now. I'd ignored the signs, convinced myself I was being paranoid. But tonight, everything changed. Earlier that evening, I'd received an anonymous email. A single photo attached. Adam, my husband of 20 years, locked in an embrace with a woman I didn't recognize. Young, blonde, beautiful. Everything I used to be. The doorbell rang, startling me. I glanced at the clock. 11:30 p.m. Who could it be at this hour? I opened the door to find my mother Ellen standing there. One look at her face told me she knew. "Oh, Laura," she said, pulling me into a tight hug. "I came as soon as I got your message." I hadn't realized I'd texted her. The past few hours were a blur. "Come in, Mom," I whispered, ushering her inside. "The kids are asleep." We settled in the kitchen, where Ellen immediately started brewing tea. Some things never change. My mother's belief that a cup of tea could solve any problem. "Have you confronted him?" Ellen asked, placing a steaming mug in front of me. I shook my head. "I don't even know where to start." "How do you ask your husband if he's having an affair?" Ellen's eyes hardened. "You don't ask, Laura. You tell him you know." "But what if I'm wrong? What if there's an explanation? Is there ever a good explanation for a married man embracing another woman like that?" I sighed, running my fingers through my hair. I can't believe this is happening. We were happy once, weren't we?" Ellen reached across the table, squeezing my hand. "You were. But people change, Laura. The question is, what are you going to do about it?" Before I could answer, the sound of a car pulling into the driveway made us both freeze. Adam was home. "I should go," Ellen said, standing up. I grabbed her arm. "No, please stay. I don't think I can face him alone." The front door opened, and Adam's footsteps echoed through the house. He appeared in the kitchen doorway, surprise flickering across his face at the sight of Ellen. "Ellen? What are you doing here so late?" My mother's voice was ice. "Supporting my daughter, something you seem incapable of doing lately." Adam's eyes darted between us, confusion turning to wariness. "Laura, what's going on?" I stood up slowly, my heart pounding. This was it, the moment that would change everything. "We need to talk, Adam," I said, my voice stronger than I felt. "About your late nights at work. About the lipstick stains I found on your shirt last week. About this." I held up my phone, the damning photo on display. Adam's face drained of color. "Laura, I can explain." "Can you?" I interrupted, surprising myself with the venom in my voice. "Can you explain why you're embracing another woman? Why you've been lying to me for months?" Adam took a step forward, his hands raised in a placating gesture. "It's not what you think. Don't." I held up a hand, stopping him in his tracks. "Don't you dare try to gaslight me, Adam. Not anymore." As I stared at the stranger my husband had become, I realized this was just the beginning. The life I thought I knew was crumbling around me, and I had no idea what would be left standing when the dust settled. I couldn't sleep that night, memories of the past flooding my mind. How did we get here? The contrast between then and now was stark, almost painful. 20 years ago, Adam and I were inseparable. I still remember our first date like it was yesterday. He showed up at my door with a bouquet of wildflowers, his nervous smile melting my heart. "I picked these myself," he'd said, a blush creeping up his neck. "I hope you're not allergic." I wasn't, thankfully. That night, we talked for hours at a little Italian restaurant downtown. I felt like I'd known him my whole life. Our whirlwind romance swept us off our feet. Within 6 months, we were engaged. My mother, ever the voice of reason, had cautioned us to slow down. "Laura, honey," she'd said, concern etched on her face. "Are you sure about this? You've only known Adam for a short time." But I was sure, or at least I thought I was. The wedding was small but perfect. Adam's vows still echoed in my ears. "Laura, I promise to love you, cherish you, and be faithful to you for all the days of my life." Faithful. The word now felt like a mockery. Our early years were blissful. When Ava was born, Adam was the doting father I'd always dreamed of. He'd spend hours rocking her to sleep, singing off-key lullabies that made me laugh. Then came Michael, and our family felt complete. I threw myself into motherhood, while Adam focused on his career. It seemed like the perfect arrangement at the time. But somewhere along the way, things changed. The loving glances became fleeting, the conversations shorter. Adam started working later, coming home exhausted and irritable. A knock on my bedroom door jolted me from my reverie. "Mom?" It was Ava. "Can I come in?" "Of course, sweetie," I said, sitting up in bed. Ava entered, her eyes red-rimmed. She'd been crying. "I heard you and Dad fighting earlier. What's going on?" I patted the bed beside me, and she sat down, curling into my side like she used to as a child. "Your father, he's been unfaithful, Ava." She stiffened. "What? Are you sure?" I nodded, feeling tears prick my eyes. "I have proof. A photo of him with another woman." "That bastard," Ava hissed, her sadness quickly turning to anger. "How could he do this to you, to us?" "I don't know, sweetheart. I wish I did." We sat in silence for a moment, both lost in our thoughts. Then Ava spoke up, her voice small. "What are you going to do?" It was the question I'd been avoiding all night. What was I going to do? The life I'd built, the future I'd planned, it was all crumbling around me. "I don't know yet," I admitted, "but I won't let him hurt us anymore." Ava nodded, squeezing my hand. "We're here for you, Mom. Me and Michael both." As if on cue, there was another knock. Michael poked his head in, his face a mask of concern. "Family meeting?" I managed a weak smile. "Seems like it. Come join us." Michael settled on my other side, and for a moment I was transported back in time. How many nights had we spent like this, cuddled together, reading bedtime stories? "Dad really messed up, huh?" Michael said, breaking the silence. I sighed. "He did, but we're going to get through this, together." As I held my children close, a new resolve settled over me. I may have lost my husband, but I still had my family, and I would fight tooth and nail to protect them. The sound of the front door opening downstairs made us all tense. Adam was home. "I should go talk to him," I said, disentangling myself from Ava and Michael. "We'll come with you," Ava insisted, her jaw set in determination. I shook my head. "No, this is something I need to do alone, but knowing you're here, it means everything." As I descended the stairs, my heart pounding, I realized this was it, the moment that would define our future. Whatever happened next, there was no going back. The morning light filtered through the kitchen curtains, casting a deceptively cheerful glow on the wreckage of my life. I stood at the sink, mechanically washing dishes from a breakfast no one had eaten. The house was eerily quiet, a stark contrast to the explosive confrontation from the night before. Adam had stormed out after our fight, leaving me with more questions than answers. The kids had retreated to their rooms, the weight of our family's implosion heavy on their shoulders. The sound of the front door opening made me tense. Adam's footsteps echoed through the house, growing louder as he approached the kitchen. "Laura," he said, his voice rough, "we need to talk." I turned slowly, steeling myself. "About what, Adam? Your lies? Your betrayal?" He winced, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "I know I messed up, but you have to understand, things haven't been right between us for a long time. And that justifies cheating?" I spat, anger rising in my chest. "No, of course not. But what?" I interrupted, slamming a plate down on the counter. "You were lonely? Bored? Tell me, Adam, what excuse could possibly make this okay?" He stepped closer, his eyes pleading. "I never meant to hurt you, Laura. It just happened." I laughed bitterly. "Things don't just happen, Adam. You made choices that destroyed our family." "Our family was already broken," he shouted, his composure cracking. "You were so wrapped up in being the perfect wife and mother, you forgot about me." His words hit me like a physical blow. "How dare you?" I whispered, my voice trembling with rage. "I gave up everything for this family, my career, my dreams, and you have the audacity to say I forgot about you?" Adam's face softened, regret flickering in his eyes. "Laura, I didn't mean." "Get out," I said, my voice low and dangerous. "What?" "I said get out," I screamed, grabbing the nearest object, a coffee mug, and hurling it at the wall beside him. It shattered, the sound echoing through the kitchen. Adam stumbled back, shock written across his face. "Laura, please." "No," I cut him off. "I'm done listening to your excuses. I want you out of this house. Now." The sound of footsteps on the stairs made us both turn. Ava and Michael stood in the doorway, their faces a mix of concern and anger. "What's going on?" Michael asked, his eyes darting between us. "Your father was just leaving," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Adam looked at our children, desperation in his eyes. "Ava, Michael, please, you have to understand." "Understand what, Dad?" Ava interrupted, her voice cold. "That you cheated on Mom? That you broke apart our family?" "It's not that simple," Adam protested weakly. Michael stepped forward, his jaw clenched. "It is that simple. You betrayed us, Dad. All of us." The weight of their words seemed to crush Adam. He slumped, defeated. I'll go pack a bag," he mumbled, shuffling out of the kitchen. As soon as he was gone, my knees buckled. Ava and Michael were at my side in an instant, guiding me to a chair. "It's okay, Mom," Ava soothed, rubbing my back. "We're here." Michael nodded, his face set in determination. "We'll get through this together." I looked at my children, overwhelmed by their strength and support. Despite the pain and anger, a small spark of hope flickered in my chest. Maybe, just maybe, we could rebuild from this. The sound of Adam's footsteps on the stairs made us all tense. He appeared in the doorway, a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. I'll be staying at a hotel," he said, his voice hollow. "I'm sorry, for everything." As he turned to leave, a thought struck me. "Adam," I called out, my voice surprisingly steady. "Who is she?" He froze, his back to us. "What? The woman in the photo. Who is she?" Adam's shoulders slumped. He turned slowly, his face a mask of guilt and shame. "Her name is Gwendolyn," he said softly. She's my coworker." The revelation hit me like a punch to the gut. Not only had he cheated, but he'd brought his affair into our everyday lives. How many times had I heard that name in passing? How many company parties had I attended, unknowingly, standing in the same room as the woman who was destroying my marriage? As Adam walked out the door, I felt something shift inside me. The pain was still there, raw and aching, but alongside it was a new emotion. Determination. I would not let this break me. I would not let Adam's betrayal define the rest of my life. I looked at Ava and Michael, drawing strength from their presence. "We're going to be okay," I said, surprising myself with the conviction in my voice. "It won't be easy, but we'll get through this." And for the first time since this nightmare began, I actually believed it. The days following Adam's departure blurred together in a haze of grief and anger. I found myself going through the motions, barely registering the concerned looks from Ava and Michael. But as the initial shock began to wear off, a new emotion took hold: determination. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the business card in my hand. "Hawkeye Investigations," it read in bold letters. My mother's words echoed in my mind. "Sometimes, Laura, you need to fight fire with fire." With trembling fingers, I dialed the number. "Hawkeye Investigations, how can we help you?" a gruff voice answered. I took a deep breath. I need to hire a private investigator." An hour later, I sat across from Jack Hawkins, a weathered man with kind eyes that had seen too much. As I poured out my story, he listened intently, jotting down notes. "Mrs. Thompson," he said when I finished, "I'll be straight with you. What I find might not be easy to hear. Are you sure you want to do this?" I nodded, my resolve strengthening. "I need to know the truth, Mr. Hawkins. All of it." As Jack left, promising updates soon, Ava walked in. Her eyes narrowed at the sight of his business card on the table. "Mom, what are you doing?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. I sighed, bracing myself for her reaction. "I've hired a private investigator, sweetie, to find out more about your father's situation." Ava's eyes widened. "Is that really necessary? I mean, we already know he cheated." "It's not just about the affair, Ava," I explained, my voice stronger than I felt. "I need to know what else he might be hiding, for my own peace of mind and for our family's future." Ava sat down, her face a mix of emotions. "I get it, Mom, I do, but are you sure you're ready for whatever he might find?" Her question hit me hard. Was I ready? The truth was, I didn't know, but I knew I couldn't move forward without answers. "I have to be," I said softly. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. I threw myself into researching divorce laws, meeting with financial advisors, and trying to piece together a future I never thought I'd have to face. It was during one of these late-night research sessions that my phone buzzed with a text from Jack. "Found something. Meeting tomorrow, 2 p.m. My heart raced as I walked into Jack's office the next day. He greeted me with a grim expression that made my stomach churn. "Mrs. Thompson," he began, I've uncovered some concerning information about your husband's finances." He slid a folder across the desk. With shaking hands, I opened it, my eyes widening as I scanned the documents inside. "These are bank statements," I murmured, confusion clouding my mind. "But these amounts, they're huge. Where is all this money coming from?" Jack leaned forward, his voice low. "From what I've gathered, your husband has been involved in some questionable business dealings, possibly embezzlement." The room spun around me. Embezzlement? Adam? It seemed impossible, and yet. "There's more," Jack continued, his tone gentle but firm. "The woman he's been seeing, Gwendolyn, she's not just a co-worker. She's the CEO's daughter." The pieces suddenly clicked into place. The late nights, the secretive phone calls, the unexplained business trips. It all made a horrible kind of sense. "Mrs. Thompson," Jack said, pulling me from my thoughts, "given the nature of these findings, I have to ask, what do you want to do next?" I stared at the damning evidence before me, my mind racing. This wasn't just about a broken marriage anymore. This was about illegal activities, about a man I thought I knew turning out to be a stranger. In that moment, I knew I had a choice to make. I could confront Adam, risk tipping him off and potentially losing everything, or I could bide my time, gather more evidence, and ensure that when I made my move, it would be decisive. Looking up at Jack, I felt a steely resolve settle over me. "I want to know everything," I said, my voice steady. "Every detail, every transaction, and then I'm going to make sure Adam pays for what he's done." As I left Jack's office, my phone buzzed with a text from Adam. "We need to talk. Dinner tonight?" Little did he know, our conversation was about to take a very different turn than he expected. I sat in my car outside the upscale restaurant, my heart pounding. Adam's text inviting me to dinner had been unexpected, but I saw it as an opportunity to confront him, to see if he'd come clean about Gwendolyn and his shady business dealings. Taking a deep breath, I stepped out of the car. As I entered the restaurant, I spotted Adam at a corner table, looking nervous. "Good, Laura," he said, standing as I approached. "Thank you for coming." I sat down, my face a mask of calm I didn't feel. "You said we needed to talk, Adam. So talk." He fidgeted with his napkin, avoiding my gaze. "I've been doing a lot of thinking, Laura, about us, about our marriage. I think we should try to work things out." I almost laughed. After everything, this was his play? "Work things out? Work things out?" I repeated, my voice dangerously low. "And how exactly do you propose we do that, Adam? Should we just pretend you didn't cheat on me, that you didn't destroy our family?" Adam's face paled. "Laura, please, I know I made mistakes, but—" "Mistakes?" I interrupted, my anger finally boiling over. "Is that what you call sleeping with your boss's daughter? Embezzling money from your company?" His eyes widened in shock. How did you?" "I hired a private investigator," I said, relishing the fear that flashed across his face. "I know everything, Adam. About Gwendolyn, about the money, all of it." Adam slumped in his chair, defeat written across his features. "Laura, I can explain." "Save it," I snapped. "I don't want to hear your excuses. What I want to know is why. Why did you do it, Adam? Was our life together not enough for you?" He ran a hand through his hair, looking suddenly old and tired. I don't know. It started small, just a few numbers moved around. Then Gwendolyn found out, and she blackmailed me, said she'd tell her father if I didn't keep it going." I felt a surge of disgust. "So you slept with her to keep her quiet? And kept stealing to, what, buy her silence?" Adam nodded miserably. "I never meant for it to go this far, Laura. I swear I was going to tell you everything, find a way to make it right." "Make it right?" I laughed bitterly. "There's no making this right, Adam. You've broken our marriage, our family, and the law. Do you have any idea what this means for us, for our children?" The mention of Ava and Michael seemed to hit Adam hard. "The kids," he whispered. "God, what have I done?" As I watched my husband crumble before me, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Anger, yes, but also pity. And beneath it all, a steely resolve. "I'm leaving you, Adam," I said, my voice steady. "I'm filing for divorce and I'm taking the kids. You need to turn yourself in, confess to the embezzlement before they find out on their own." Adam's head snapped up, panic in his eyes. "Laura, please, you can't. If this gets out, I'll lose everything. My job, my freedom." "You should have thought of that before you started stealing," I cut him off. "You have a choice to make, Adam. Turn yourself in or I'll go to the police myself." As I stood to leave, Adam grabbed my arm. Wait, Laura, please, just give me some time. Let me try to fix this. I looked down at him. This man I once loved, now a stranger. You have 48 hours, Adam. After that, I'm doing what I have to do to protect our family. Walking out of the restaurant, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. For the first time in years, I was taking control of my life. The road ahead would be hard, but I was ready to face it. My phone buzzed with a text from Ava. Everything okay, Mom? How did it go with Dad? I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the conversation to come. It was time to tell my children the whole truth, no matter how painful. As I drove home, I realized that this was just the beginning. The real fight was yet to come, but I was ready for it, ready to reclaim my life, protect my children, and face whatever challenges lay ahead. For the first time in years, I felt truly alive. The 48-hour ultimatum I'd given Adam ticked away like a time bomb. I spent those hours in a frenzy of activity, meeting with lawyers, gathering documents, and steeling myself for what was to come. As the deadline approached, I felt a strange calm settle over me. Whatever happened next, I was ready. I just finished explaining everything to Ava and Michael when my phone buzzed. Adam's name flashed on the screen. Laura. His voice was tight with panic. I need more time. Please, I'm trying to fix this. I closed my eyes, fighting back a wave of anger. Fix what, Adam? The affair? The embezzlement? Our broken marriage? All of it, he pleaded. I've talked to Gwendolyn. We can make this right. Just give me a chance. A bitter laugh escaped me. A chance? Like the chances I gave you for years while you destroyed our family? Mom? Ava's concerned voice cut through my anger. I realized I'd been gripping the phone so tightly my knuckles had turned white. I'm done giving you chances, Adam, I said, my voice steady. You have until midnight. Turn yourself in, or I go to the police. I hung up, my heart pounding. Ava and Michael exchanged worried glances. What now, Mom? Michael asked, his voice small. I took a deep breath. Now, we wait. The hours crawled by. We sat in tense silence, jumping at every sound. As the clock struck 11, a sharp knock at the door made us all start. I opened it to find two stern-faced police officers. Mrs. Thompson? One asked. We need to ask you some questions about your husband. My stomach dropped. Has something happened to Adam? The officer's face remained impassive. Ma'am, your husband has been arrested. We have reason to believe you may have information about his activities. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. Adam? Arrested? Despite everything, I never thought he'd actually face consequences. Mom? Ava's voice trembled. What's going on? I turned to my children, their faces pale with shock. It's okay, I said, trying to sound more confident than I felt. Everything's going to be okay. The next few hours were a blur of questions, statements, and barely contained panic. By the time the police left, promising to return with more questions, I felt hollowed out. I can't believe Dad's really going to jail, Michael muttered, staring blankly at the wall. Ava nodded, her eyes red-rimmed. What are we going to do now? Their words hit me like a physical blow. In my determination to see justice done, I'd forgotten about the collateral damage. My children's lives were about to be turned upside down, their father branded a criminal. As if on cue, my phone rang again. An unknown number. Hello? I answered warily. Is this Laura Thompson? A smooth, feminine voice asked. Yes, who is this? This is Gwendolyn Carter, the voice replied, sending a chill down my spine. I think it's time we talk, don't you? I gripped the phone tighter, my mind racing. Gwendolyn, Adam's mistress, the catalyst for this whole mess. What could she possibly want now? I'm listening, I said, my voice cold. Not over the phone, Gwendolyn replied. Meet me at the Bluebird Cafe in an hour. Come alone. Trust me, you'll want to hear what I have to say. The line went dead before I could respond. I stared at the phone, my heart pounding. Every instinct screamed that this was a trap, that I should stay far away from Gwendolyn and her machinations. But a small voice in the back of my mind whispered that this might be my chance to get answers, to understand the full scope of Adam's betrayal. I looked at Ava and Michael, their faces etched with worry and confusion. Could I really leave them now, when they needed me most? But if there was any chance Gwendolyn had information that could help us navigate this nightmare, didn't I owe it to my children to find out? I have to go out for a bit, I heard myself say, my voice sounding distant to my own ears. Will you two be okay here? They nodded, clearly sensing the gravity of the moment. As I grabbed my keys and headed for the door, I felt like I was standing on the edge of a precipice. Whatever happened at this meeting with Gwendolyn, I knew our lives would never be the same again. With one last look at my children, I stepped out into the night, ready to face whatever came next. The Bluebird Cafe was nearly empty when I arrived, my nerves frayed and my heart racing. In a corner booth sat a striking blonde woman, her perfectly manicured nails tapping impatiently on the table. Gwendolyn. As I approached, she looked up, a cold smile playing on her lips. Laura, so nice to finally meet you. I slid into the booth, my voice tight. Let's skip the pleasantries. What do you want? Gwendolyn's smile widened. Straight to the point. I like that. She reached into her purse, pulling out a thick manila envelope. I have something you might be interested in. My eyes narrowed. And what's that? Evidence, she said, sliding the envelope across the table. Proof that Adam wasn't the mastermind behind the embezzlement. He was just a pawn. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. Inside were documents, bank statements, and emails that painted a damning picture. Not just of Adam's involvement, but of a larger conspiracy that reached to the highest levels of the company. Why are you showing me this? I asked, my mind reeling. Gwendolyn leaned forward, her voice low. Because I'm tired of being used. Adam, my father, the whole company, they've been playing me just as much as they've been playing you. I stared at her, disbelief warring with a growing sense of understanding. So what do you want from me? A partnership, she said, her eyes glinting. Together, we can bring the whole corrupt system down, clear Adam's name, partially at least, and expose the real criminals. My head spun. This was so much bigger than I'd imagined. And why should I trust you? Gwendolyn's face hardened. Because right now, I'm the only friend you've got. Adam's in jail, your kids are scared, and you're in way over your head. Face it, Laura. You need me. As much as I hated to admit it, she was right. I was out of my depth, and this evidence could change everything. But could I really trust the woman who had helped destroy my marriage? Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from Michael. Mom, where are you? The police are back. They're asking about Dad's computer. What should we do? Panic surged through me. I stood abruptly, gathering the documents. I have to go. My kids. Gwendolyn grabbed my arm. Wait, you can't leave now. We need to plan our next move. I yanked my arm away. My children come first. Always. As I rushed out of the cafe, Gwendolyn called after me. You can't protect them forever, Laura. Sooner or later, you'll have to choose. Her words echoed in my head as I sped home, my mind racing. Choose what? Between justice and family? Between truth and protection? I arrived home to find 2 police officers in my living room, Ava and Michael looking pale and scared. Mrs. Thompson, one officer said, his face grim. We need to search your husband's home office. We have reason to believe there's evidence of further criminal activity. I clutched my purse tighter, feeling the weight of Gwendolyn's documents inside. Do you have a warrant? The officer's eyes narrowed. We can get one, but that would make things messier for everyone involved. I looked at my children, saw the fear and confusion in their eyes. Then I thought of Adam, sitting in a jail cell, of Gwendolyn and her offer of alliance, of the years I'd spent building this life, only to watch it crumble around me. In that moment, I realized Gwendolyn was right. I did have to choose, not between justice and family, but between being a victim and taking control. I straightened my spine, meeting the officer's gaze. You want a search? Fine, but first there's something you need to see. As I pulled out Gwendolyn's documents, I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. Whatever happened next, I was done being a pawn in someone else's game. It was time to become the queen. Officers, I said, my voice steady, I think we're going to need a lawyer because this goes way beyond my husband's embezzlement, and I'm ready to tell you everything. The courtroom was packed as I took the stand, my heart pounding but my resolve unshakable. Months of preparation, sleepless nights, and emotional turmoil had led to this moment. As I raised my right hand to swear in, I caught Adam's eye from the defendant's table. He looked broken, a shell of the man I once loved. Mrs. Thompson, the prosecutor began, please tell the court about the events leading up to your discovery of your husband's illegal activities. I took a deep breath and began my testimony. With each word, I felt stronger, shedding the last vestiges of the meek housewife I'd once been. I detailed Adam's affair, the embezzlement, and the wider conspiracy that Gwendolyn's documents had revealed. As I spoke, I saw the jury's expressions shift from skepticism to shock, then to outrage. Adam's lawyer tried to discredit me, painting me as a vengeful ex-wife, but I stood my ground. "Mrs. Thompson," he sneered, "isn't it true that you're just trying to punish your husband for his infidelity?" I met his gaze steadily. "No, sir, I'm here because it's the right thing to do, for justice, for my children, and for myself." The trial lasted weeks, each day bringing new revelations and challenges. Gwendolyn testified, her composed facade cracking as she detailed her father's involvement in the scheme. Adam, facing overwhelming evidence, finally broke down and confessed to everything. On the day of the verdict, I sat with Ava and Michael, holding their hands tightly as we waited. When the jury foreman stood, the room fell silent. "We find the defendant, Adam Thompson, guilty on all counts." A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom. I closed my eyes, feeling a mix of relief and sadness wash over me. It was over. As we left the courthouse, reporters swarmed us, shouting questions. I pulled Ava and Michael close, shielding them as best I could. "Mom," Ava whispered, "what happens now?" I smiled at her, feeling a newfound strength. Now we rebuild. In the months that followed, our lives transformed. Adam went to prison, his relationship with Gwendolyn imploding spectacularly in the wake of the trial. The children struggled at first, but with time and therapy, they began to heal. As for me, I discovered a resilience I never knew I possessed. I went back to school, finishing the degree I'd abandoned when I married Adam. I started a support group for women dealing with similar situations, channeling my pain into purpose. One sunny afternoon, as I sat in our new apartment, helping Michael with his college applications, I realized how far we'd come. The phone rang. It was Ava, calling with news of her promotion at work. "I'm so proud of you, sweetie," I said, my heart swelling with love and pride. After hanging up, I walked to the window looking out at the city skyline. I thought about the woman I'd been when this all started. Scared, insecure, defined by her roles as wife and mother. That woman was gone, replaced by someone stronger, wiser, and fiercely independent. A knock at the door interrupted my reverie. I opened it to find my mother, Ellen, holding a bottle of champagne. "I thought we could celebrate," she said, her eyes twinkling. "Your new job, the kids' successes, and—" she paused, smiling warmly, "your divorce being finalized." I laughed, pulling her into a hug. "You always know just what I need, Mom." As we sat together, sipping champagne and chatting, I felt a profound sense of peace settle over me. The road had been hard, filled with betrayal, heartache, and challenges I never thought I'd face. But I'd survived. More than that, I'd thrived. Looking at my mother, I saw the strength that had always been there, waiting for me to claim it. I thought of Ava and Michael, of the example I was setting for them. And I thought of Adam, hoping that someday he'd find the peace and redemption he sought. But most of all, I thought of myself. Laura Thompson, no longer defined by her marriage or her pain, but by her courage, resilience, and unwavering love for her family. As the sun set outside our window, casting a golden glow over the room, I raised my glass in a silent toast. To endings and new beginnings. To family and friendship. To the power of forgiveness and the strength found in adversity. And most of all, to the woman I'd become. Battle-scarred but unbroken, ready to embrace whatever the future might hold.